Well, good afternoon and welcome to the van. Yes, this is our camper van. I'm sure quite a lot of you following this channel know that we have a camper van. We actually did have a separate YouTube channel that was documenting our travels, obviously not in 2020 but the previous couple of years. I'll link that channel. We haven't vlogged anything on that for well over a year now, about a year now. We decided not to carry on with the travel vlogging after we lost Guinness, our cat who used to travel with us as well. So that's now just kind of stationary. Glad that we did record them, not least or mainly because it's a little memory that we can obviously look back on as the years go by. Oh, that makes me sound really old, sitting in front of a fire with a pipe. In lockdown Mark 1, I think we're in number 3 of the trilogy now. I obviously did a little something for the weekend, sir, on Fridays, and that was really just some things that caught my eye in and around the world of photography that I wanted to share with you guys. So I thought I would kind of do that again, but maybe mix it up a little bit. And so now we have Fridays from the van. Now, I am going to talk about our future plans at some point in the next couple of weeks, but I would like to think that Fridays from the van may be a bit of a ongoing feature, because as I say, we do hope to get back in the van when the time is right. I'm thinking middle of 2021 maybe, and get a little bit of travelling done again. So the Fridays from the van are going to take the place of Talk Tuesdays. All these words and titles, just while I try to kind of come up with a little bit of a different schedule than what I had originally envisaged at the start of 2021, when I had hoped to be doing daily vlogs. Now, that's not to say that the daily vlogs won't return, but what I want to avoid doing is filling multiple days with me sitting in front of the camera. So I think for the foreseeable future, what we're probably going to have is a Sunday vlog, which is me out in the field. We're going to have those moments between, which is more run and gun style. So those moments between with on my iPhone, and then obviously Fridays from the van. So at least until the next crazy bit of news hits and we have to change it all again. So there's a couple of things that I wanted to talk about in today's Friday from the van, and let's get number 1 out of the way first of all. A bit of an elephant in the room, and maybe some of you have already noticed the link in some of my most recent vlogs. Something that I'm not 100% comfortable with, but I still wanted to talk about it. I have set myself up a little Ko-fi page. For those of you who don't know, that's a little sort of donations page that folks can actually make a very small donation to help along with the running costs of, for example, YouTube channel, whatever. Now, I have thought long and hard about this, and I wouldn't say I'm still 100% comfortable with it. One of the things that I was determined that I wouldn't do, even if right now I can't do this because I don't have enough subscribers, or no, I don't have enough watch time, but I was never planning on running advertisements on my YouTube channel. That was never going to be what I wanted to do. I wanted to keep it completely advert free. Now, I know that YouTube are potentially going to be adding adverts to even people who decide not to have them on them out of their own free will, but that's kind of out of my hands. But I was never going to have ads running on my channel. Now, obviously there is a fair bit of work that goes into producing these vlogs, but at the same time I do enjoy doing them. I kind of flipped back and forward about whether or not I should set one of these Ko-fi channels up, and so I've decided to do that with I think a little sort of donation, three quid or something. Now, I am under no illusions that I'm not expectful, and I certainly would not be disappointed if the tip jar remains empty. It's a very challenging time for a lot of folks right now not just self-employed artists, but just across the board. And so every penny counts. What I've also accepted is probably for the first half of this year, at least, I'm going to have to look for alternative work to supplement the photography side of things. I can't see us getting back to running workshops, at least regular sort of free and easy workshops, until maybe the middle of the year. And it certainly would be amiss of me to go ahead and plan a lot of things for Q1 when the chances are they're going to have to be rescheduled, as was the case last year. So as well as running the YouTube channel and doing my other photography and hopefully continuing to sell some prints, I'm kind of looking for a non-photography related job for the first time in 20 years. And it's a bit of a crazy world out there, because one of the jobs I saw advertised was for a sandwich artist. Although I do have experience, as you can see. So that's why I thought I would just set up the little donations page. Now, I absolutely don't want this to be money for nothing. And of course, I am delivering this ad-free content on YouTube. But I also wanted to make sure that I was giving something back. And so 2 things I'm doing with the Ko-fi page. Number 1, irrespective of what donations I get in a month, be that 0, be that 3, be that whatever, I'm going to also commit to donating £3 to another artist out there somewhere. Now, I've never done this before. I've never kind of clicked on anyone's Ko-fi link before and donated them. But I commit that once a month I am going to drop a little £3 in another artist's tip jar. The other thing that I want to do is for any of you who would be donating, for every £30 I raise, I'm going to give away a free A4 print to someone who has donated. Hopefully you'll have included your email address and I'll be able to kind of get in touch with you. So as I say, I'm still not 100% comfortable with the idea of it, but times are tough, and again, I know times are tough for a lot of folks, but I just wanted to kind of throw this out for, even if it was just being able to kind of fill the petrol tank and allow me to kind of get back out and that's the other thing as well. 100% of this will go towards the photography side of things, most likely the YouTube channel, be that traveling out and about. It's my responsibility to look after me and my house and everything, and that's where the second job is most likely going to come in. So, but I just wanted to get that out of the way first and foremost. So I wanted to talk a little bit about prints. Now, I am forever thankful that over the last couple of months I have managed to sell a handful of prints. That has been so appreciated, and thank you if you are one of the people watching this who has picked up one of my prints. But I wanted to kind of do something regarding the prints. I am very aware that there's a lot of artists out there who are going through similar challenges as to myself in regards to reduced income through no fault of their own, just through this whole current situation. And so from that perspective, I wanted to commit to something called an artist's pledge or an artist support pledge. Now, I first saw this last year when a bunch of painters took part in it. And basically the premise is that I've decided that for every 5 prints that I sell, I commit to then purchase another piece of work from another photographer to the maximum value of the print that I sold within that 5 slot. So my most expensive print at the moment is £35. So that means that if I sell even one of those prints for £35, but I sell 5 prints overall, then I will buy another piece of photography, either a print or a book or a zine or something, to the value of £35 from another artist. Now, when I'm doing that, I will also make that photographer aware of what I'm doing, and hopefully even a handful of them will maybe commit to do something similar. So at the time of speaking, there's actually been another little burst of photography prints, and I think I'm up to 3 prints as of when I first started doing this. So another 2 prints and I get to purchase. Now, secretly, I'm quite excited about owning some photography books, some photography prints. Given the fact that we have spent a bit of time on the road of late, it's been very difficult to own physical possessions, but I think this is a great little excuse. So for every 5 prints that I make, I'm committing to purchase another piece of work from another photographer to the value of £35. Did you just see the camera almost fall over there? I think I just about grabbed it and you probably got me going, Roop. My Joby tripod is falling apart a bit. Anyway, regarding prints, when I'm doing prints for clients, the odd time there's a bit of an issue with the print. Now, it could be that there's a slight blemish on maybe the white border. The odd time there has been a little minimal bit of just not the print sort of quality that I'm happy with, or maybe the framing has been a little bit off, and so I kind of keep those prints. Now, what I thought I would do, there's no point in sort of just hanging onto them, so I thought I would kind of offer them up for sale. So I will put a link. I'll put a little sort of overlay here of the prints that are for sale, and I'll put a little link below regarding the prints that are for sale for a reduced value, and I'll show as much as possible what the issue is with those prints. They're part of my limited edition collection. Obviously they won't make up one of the editions in that limited edition, but if you were after one of those and you don't mind a slight little blemish along the way and you want to save yourself a little bit of money, then check out the link below. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about social media and my plans for 2021. One of the things that I realized at the end of 2020 was I was following now, compared to some people, it's a small amount, but I think across Instagram, Twitter, Facebook groups, even Flickr, I was following on average maybe 500-600 accounts per social media account. That's way too many. And what I realized was the accounts that I was following, a lot of those were historic. Maybe I'd kind of just clicked on follow back in the day. A lot of them maybe weren't relevant now, and a lot of them, no fault of the photographer themselves, but just weren't inspiring me anymore. And I think part of the problem was everything was being diluted. Everything was being diluted down, because we were seeing so many images flash across our screen. So one of the things that I committed to in the first quarter of 2021 was to get all of my social media accounts, that's mainly going to be Twitter and Instagram, down to me only following 100 accounts. Now, I think I've done a very good job at the moment. I think I'm down to just over a couple of hundred on each of those. So still a little bit of way to go, but I've certainly culled quite a lot. Now, I don't want other photographers and other artists to take this the wrong way, that I'm just being kind of like dismissive of their work. It's almost the opposite. What I want is to follow a smaller number of accounts and really start to engage with them, with their work, and with them as artists themselves. Now, because I'm trying to get this down to 100, and I've got like a couple of hundred left, I'm probably going to spend the next couple of weeks really looking through the accounts that I'm following and really ask myself, are they actually still inspiring me? Now, the plan would be that when I get it down to 100, I can't go above that. And so that means that if I was to come across another account that I find very inspiring, I would have to unfollow someone else. And so it's a little bit of rather than just accepting social media and the stream, I really want to spend a bit of time. Now, I don't want to spend too much time on social media, or at least too much dead time. And by dead time, I mean, I don't mind spending half an hour on social media if I'm actually looking at 1 or 2 accounts and really delving delving in deeper. So that's kind of one of the commitments that I've made, and I would encourage you, I think I've mentioned this before in a previous vlog, I would encourage you to do the same. Take a look at the number of accounts that you're following, and rather just having social media just blast the content over you, why not be a bit more picky and choosy as to what you're following and see whether or not you can actually pick up a little bit of inspiration from the accounts that you follow. So I was looking on social media the other day, and there was a particular image that popped up and it garnered a huge amount of likes. I really liked it as well. Now, when I looked down the comments, it was all the usual: great image, lovely image, fab image, great image. And it got me thinking, what is it that we like about images? Now, I'm not sure whether you need to always go down into the nuts and bolts. Sometimes an image is a nice image is a nice image. But I think it can be quite useful to stop ourselves sometimes. So when we are doing our social media kind of hamster wheel, almost saying to yourself, right, rather than just hitting the like button or great image, dude, I'm actually going to put that one in reserve, and I'm going to come back to it. I'm going to make the effort to look at it on a bigger screen. Even better if the person has maybe got a link to a Flickr account where you can view it at a slightly higher resolution, or maybe even on their website. And maybe ask yourself why you like it, why it stopped. And maybe commit now. Twitter isn't the best place to put this because of its character limit, but maybe just put a couple of words up as to what drew you towards the image. Now, this is not critique, and I'm certainly not looking to put in some negative things. So I like this, but I think you could do this better. No, this is really just, this is what made me stop and think about this image. This is what made me like the image. It might just be, it's an overall calming scene. It's a scene that, reminds me of whatever, or I really love the tone, and I love how maybe the snow is sort of wafting. There's a word I don't use enough. Across the scene. Just something. And so that's something that I'm going to try to do. And what I'll probably do is next week and for the upcoming weeks, I'm going to choose just one image that's kind of piqued my interest throughout the week. And I'll talk a little bit about why I like it. But on top of that, on social media, what I'm going to try to do is, rather than just hit the like button, I'm really going to try to concisely tell the other photographer what really drew me in to the image. And again, this is something that I would encourage you to do too. It doesn't have to be every single image that you come across, but just make a mental note. Take maybe 2 or 3 images a week and actually delve deeper why you like them. So guys, just one last thing quickly, and this is a little something for the weekend, sir. And it's not really photography related, but it's a podcast that I came across about a month ago, and I've been catching up with it every couple of days. And it's from Melissa Harrison, who is a novelist, nature writer. And the podcast is called The Stubborn Light of Things. Now, what Melissa did was, at the start of the first lockdown back in, I want to say March, she started recording a podcast as she went out on her daily walks. Now, as much as I love living by the sea, I do miss the noises of the countryside, especially in spring and in the height of summer, where you've got the bird call, and you've just got that, there's just a certain noise that the countryside brings. And I think that's one of the things that really drew me in to this particular podcast. I'm just going to read a little excerpt from her blog page. So I'm a nature writer and novelist, and I'm lucky enough to be able to walk out of my cottage straight into Suffolk's beautiful open countryside. As spring breaks over the British Isles and summer settles in, I'll be documenting the wonder and richness of the natural world and bring it into as many homes as I can. There'll be guest spots from other nature lovers, extracts from my monthly nature notebook columns in the Times, and snippets from the diaries of Gilbert White, England's most famous naturalist. Listen each week to stay in touch with the outside world, the weather, and the changing seasons. And I've listened to now, I believe she is now finished. I think her last one was in October of last year. But I think there's about 25 podcasts and they're about 25 minutes each or so. I would highly encourage you to sit down in a quiet room and listen to them. It really does transport you to the countryside. And of course, she does have some very interesting and enlightening guests on there too. And I believe that she's putting all of these diaries into a book which you can purchase as well. So that's The Stubborn Light of Things by Melissa Harrison. Right guys, that's more than enough for me from inside the van. It's actually pretty nippy in here. I can't really have the heating on because you wouldn't be able to hear me, but it does mean that it is pretty cold in here. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn you off, do a little bit of editing on the computer and stick the heating on. I wonder, could I phone upstairs and get a cup of tea brought down to me? Is that pushing my luck a little bit? Right guys, I guess we'll catch up on Sunday when I think we're out in a very misty Port Ballantrae along the Causeway coast. Thanks a lot for watching, and until next time, bye bye.